Maayong hapon, Subo! This is Miss G. You are listening to Miss with Miss G here at TMC 105.1 FM, the most Cebu conversations. We are live streaming on Tops Media Center, FB, TikTok, and the YouTube channel. And for those of you who would like to join us for our conversations, you may text us at 0999-887-6070. It's on your screen. Again, it's 0999-887-6070. Miss with Miss G is a 2-hour radio show every Wednesdays and or Fridays at 2 p.m. about beauty pageants and more. We go deep into the beauty pageants from the sitio, barangay, municipal, all the way to the national and even international level. I am your host, Miss Glenda Suico, or Miss G, a personality development pageant trainer, and we will talk about all the ins and outs of pageants and other pageant-related topics, which includes, but is not limited to, social issues and its relevance to the society today, using the platform of pageantry as a venue for open communication, collaboration, creating something beautiful that showcases beauty with a purpose, using pageant as an arena for social justice and equity. Magstorya lang good. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation only at TMC's Miss with Miss G. Again, maayong hapon ka natong tanan. Maayong hapon kaninyo nga naminaw nato karong adlaw. And of course, this afternoon, we have a very, very special guest and a very, very prestigious kayo ni nga day for me, and I am very much humbled karong hapuna. Okay, I'm always humbled, but this time in the presence of this person. And ang ato ang topic, wa jud ko laing mao na hunaan, because we have to focus on this person. Because usa ni siya sa nakaingon niya nganong ang ato ang fashion, nganong industry, even sa ato ang pageant, sa world of pageant is what it is today. Part of the powerhouse. Ug nganong nakaingon nga nganong ang Cebu City, nahimong powerhouse of fashion and pageant. My guest this afternoon is a Cebuano fashion designer and entrepreneur, and of course very well known kay ni siya sa iyang advocacy in reviving and promoting the local Philippine fabric, which is the hablon. Of course, we'll be talking a little bit of the hablon, but we will be talking about the evolution of this fashion designer and how it came from that humble beginning to today. Ladies and gentlemen, ang atong topic karon, and the person himself on TMC Studio Live, Dexter Alazas, Stylographer. Okay.
Hi, Miss G. Good afternoon.
Hello, Mommy Dex. I always call you Mommy Dex, but to your is always Sir Dexter, no. Kani siya is nga term unahon sa ninato. Kay this is something new, in fact, sa koan. Kay ako sad karon pa ko, usually magud stylist.
Yes.
Ang ilahang iingon, but this one it's different. Can you first but before anything else, say hi, hello sa imuhang mga koan. Gadali ko sa topic, no, ka-excited ko. Okay, say hi and hello sa imuhang mga nagtigpaminaw. Hybrid ta, Mami Dax, kay it's not just podcast, it's radio and of course FB, YouTube and TikTok live ta. Yeah, so hybrid ta karon. Go ahead, Mami Dax.
First of all, thank you so much, Miss G, for inviting me today.
You're very welcome.
I was really looking forward to it. I even forgot it's Wednesday. So it's
Saka
really
busy ni
because
mo.
it's Tuesday and Friday also, right? You have
actually
other
on
episodes.
Wednesdays and Fridays usually.
Wednesdays and Fridays, yeah. So yeah, I'm so happy that I'm here. I'd like to say hello to everyone who's watching and listening right now at TMC. And today is really special also for me because it's one way of telling people that I'm here at TMC, and of course it's also like our 25th anniversary of Admire Models
Oh,
Philippines.
wow. Congratulations, Mami Dax. Congratulations.
Thank you.
25
25 years since
Wow.
year 2000.
Yeah, pero ang kanang admire dili man gyud na siya no
Uh-uh.
transition, but we will talk about that
Yes.
later. Okay. Ato sang unahon ang kaning kaysa ato ang topic karon, it's of course you. So we will talk about you. But I'm really curious kaning word nga stylographer. Where
Yeah.
did it come from and how it came to be, and then what is the title is all about?
Right. Yeah. This is actually like sort of, if you call it that way, like a self-made title for myself. This is actually because, well, for me, style is everything, and anything can be styled. So whether in clothing or in fashion or even people, image can be styled. You know, brands can be styled. Music even can be styled, right? So anything can be styled. So I thought of it that way, that from the root word a stylograph, or like a stylus, which is something that artists use
Artists use, yeah.
to draw or something like that. I mean, considering myself maybe as an artist, I thought of it that way, that I'm just an instrument to create things that are beautiful, and people can admire, sort of like that. And then I thought of it that way because for me, a stylist can be a stylist, but a stylographer is more than that. So it's something that draws or creates something, and I feel that I have that, and that's really one of my passions, more than just fashion designing. I've been like taking care of a lot of talents, and some of my friends as well who have brands in fashion that I also help out. I mean, a little bit of consultancy at that. So it's like a very broad term for something with fashion and style, and even does choreograph and create beautiful things. So that's basically what happened because of the pandemic. And so, yeah, before even the pandemic, actually, I thought of myself before I wanted to retire at age 50. But during the pandemic, wala pa to siya, wapa ko na 50.
Right.
But then pandemic came, and I thought maybe I don't want to go back to just the designer self that I am.
Right.
I want to focus more on other things as well, still in fashion, design, and style, but more of those kinds of things, not just into one
Not
fashion.
into one fashion.
Yeah, so then that came the pandemic, and so I decided, no, I'll reinvent myself, sort of, which is such actually artists and even,
Yes,
people from
more
the industry.
invent sila ang kagalingon,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah, so I thought, why not? And then, so yeah, I'm now focused on a lot of things actually, but 50% is fashion, 50% is more styling, and working also with other people, collaborating with other designers, other creators in the creative industry. So I'm happy doing that. That's really like just my passion. I turned it into a profession actually. Right.
Okay, but before anything, Mommy, that's there is a woohoo! We are proud of you, Gach, Dr. Alas, from My Del Mar del
Yes.
Filio.
Actually,
Yes.
yeah. My Del Mar is actually one of my sort of barcadas in high school. They are actually the first 80 models in high school.
Kaning high school no nga bisag unsaon it's sa atong generation
Yes.
kasi me I'm 50 already
Right.
mura ang age gap no ang age no ang high school good is something nga kanang it sticks.
Yeah.
It's the best time actually ang high school mo na nga
Yes.
mo'y unahon nato no ang ato ang mga model atong kuan atong mga
Actually,
classmates
it's the
sa high
formative
school.
years, no, diyan nag-start. It started siguro earlier, in elementary years, younger years, but na-form yun siya pag high school when you meet all these friends. So, we call ourselves the gaggers. We're
Okay.
gregarious.
So-
we kind of like go fashionably outside. We go out of school and all, and then we dress up. And then I find these girls that, I think they're aligned to what I like, and they like also the things that I do. So we group together, and my Del Mar, shout out to all the gaggers out there. We just recently had our mini reunion, and we always
okay.
like meet up when we have time.
Naagid na oy sa una gid no talagang mga high school na grupo-grupo ng
Yeah.
mga kuan. But anyway, now that you've mentioned anang imuhang pag high school, and then so let's go back to the main nga
Yeah.
kuan, which is DEXTER Alazas. Okay. How did it start? How did the Dexter Alazas came to be? Let's talk about the evolution, how it
Right.
started. So, if I remember correctly, Mami Dax, you are a nurse.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm a graduate nurse. I'm a registered nurse.
Mm-mm. And
Yeah.
then one of the reasons why is because, of course, the family is in the U.S. So,
My mom actually went there first, and then it was part of. She's an immigrant. My brother from the States, you know, migrated there. I mean, and then I was supposed to go if I passed the licensure exam abroad. I took it once, but I never came back after I failed one time. And so my mom said, and she decided if I can't go there, she'll just come back here in Cebu. And then, so that's how it started. And then I got into fashion, and she started supporting me. My parents, my mom and dad. Then they said, let's just open a shop for myself.
pero nagsugod na siya, Mami Dax, even way before that.
Way,
With
way.
your, I think, with your sister.
Yes,
diba?
way before. Like, my sister had a shop before. It's called Catch Couture. Yeah, so she does uniforms. Her name is Daisy, and she does uniforms. She does ready to wear and even bridals. So it's a small shop in Oitengso Street in Jones Avenue, and I was already in high school back then, and so I help out every now and then. Going to the shop, I help out just a little way and all that, and then when she closed it, there was a time when she closed it, and then we had all these items like the mannequins, the sewing machines are in our house. So my dad said, nga, basig, if you don't want to use this, we can sell it. And all. And I said, maybe I'll use it for a time, just temporary lang. Maybe I'll rebrand the shop, or I'll just, make my own. And then that's how it started. But before that, pagyud, my cousin-in-law, like sort of my cousin's wife, had a shop before in Gorordo Avenue. It's called Rina. Yeah, it's named after Ria
yeah.
and Ina
Ina
Alazas.
Alazas,
Yeah,
yeah.
all right. And then that's my cousin-in-law's shop, and their designer there is Dodong Bandibas. So one of the best designers that I look up to when I was younger. And there was one time I went there and even had a button-down shirt na silk from Rina, and I kept it for a long time until nawagtang na lang siya, I don't know where. Yeah, so that really inspired me because I go there and then, observe, nga maybe kung mahawa ni si Dodong, maybe I can take over. I have those dreams already.
Yeah,
So, but
kaan.
then, yeah. And then, eventually I got my sister's things ng equipments, and then I opened my own.
So, college ni siya, Mami Dax.
Yeah.
Na nagsugod na.
Yeah, high school pa, nanay shop ang sister. And then college na-close naman to.
So, diha na nga ka ng ikaw na.
Yes,
Oo.
right. So I do it on my own lang, parang mura lang siya og kanang by appointment, and then everybody knows that, oh, where's your shop? Where's your sister's shop? It's closed now, so I'm taking over, sort of
Yes.
mag-ana lang ko istorya ba. And so yeah, I got to design some of my classmates' prom dresses.
Mahuman yun na una,
Yeah,
no?
muna yung una,
As in,
yeah.
mga prom dresses and everything. Ang nakanindot sa ato ang panahon sa una, 80s, 90s na Mami Dax, is that, because kay, limited ra, gamay ra, maihap ra gyud
Yeah.
ang mga katong mga designers, mga super talented, ila-ila ra, isig suporta ay ra gyud.
True,
And I
true.
think that's one of the reasons also nga murabag nakagamot gyud kamo ang inyuhang mga kanang grupo, like you, si Anhing Jonas Borses, and Mami
Yeah,
Carrie,
right,
si Mami
yeah.
Tison, sila Mami Malaika, and the other nga katong mga karaan, Protasio,
Yeah.
and
Natasha, Fern, Oni.
yes, o daghan kay
Yeah.
tanan. And then these are the go-to people. Because when I was in college, I was Cebu Doctors man sa ko nursing.
Alright.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
and we have this Miss Nursing. Kani
Yes.
gyud morning mga ngana ang koan, and ang maadto dayon for the Miss CDU.
Yeah, right.
Karo CDU naman na karon sa una
Correct.
kay Cebu Doctors
In
Cebu
the
Doctors
old
College
campus
CS.
pa, right.
So mo na siya ang kanang and then sa una it was not Miss Cebu, it was Miss Tourism
Miss
pa.
Cebu Tourism.
Oo,
yes.
sa una. So mauni siya ang mga kanang mga karaan gyud.
Yeah.
Sila Mami Junjet, sila Sir Victor ang
Correct.
kuan. Mao gini sila ang mga karaan.
Actually, Miss Cebu Tourism opened the door also for me because in 1996, I don't have a shop yet. I was working for another shop
Yes.
in Gorordo. and I was invited to be one of the costume designers. So I won the best designer for costume that year in 1996, and that was the first time that I won.
Right.
And soon after that, I had other pageants also that I won as best designer. So that's when they said, luck comes thrice or strikes thrice. So I decided that siguro mag-designer na
Designer
lang
na
siguro
lang
ko.
yun.
At the same time, I was reviewing my CGFNS board exam. And then I said, murag nabiyaan ako gamay. I was focused on designing. I had a very good fashion show in Balls Disco before. It's called Joie de Vivre with Carrie Santiago, Ronald Villavela, Sal Malto. We were there, and I was one of the designers there. I was so happy that I had good reviews there from Odge Hofer, who was a senior designer also who was writing for the Freeman. And so he said that, it's promising that I made this and all that. And he said he was surprised that I was a new designer. So it all came to, to in place nga murabag.
Na-align good siya
na-align
tanan.
na murag-
Pang designer good
Kasi
ay.
designer jud siguro ko in the future. So I tried my luck, and then happily and luckily I am now
And we are so lucky nga naasa until now naagi hapon.
Thank
You've
you.
mentioned Ronald Villavelas. He's also actually a nurse. And then and then of course ikaw sa naka-conjug ka. Do you think ba na kaning pagka-nurse nato it also it plays important role also in the application sa ato ang imuhang pagka-designer?
Definitely, because the nursing profession actually has more than just the mind. You have the heart to take care of people. In fact, our slogan really is we're proud to care.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're like caregivers actually, sort of.
Caregivers to all.
To all, yeah. And so training and discipline, being a nursing student is really tough because you wake up so early, you go home late, depends on the shift, right? So it's all kind of like started there. Your discipline in the profession is really like kind of like rooted from being a nurse, because it's a lot of sacrifice when you're a nurse. You're not just dealing with yourself, but dealing with patients, different kinds of people, different walks of life, and you see them there in pain, and you feel that pain, and also you're really attuned to like really helping and caring for people.
Perhaps the reason why also ang nindot ta og customer service because we take care of bedside manggod ta.
True.
So ang ato ang pamatasan is we take care of the most, actually the sick are the most difficult people because of because of the disease, the situation. So they're very irritable and all. And then perhaps is also the reason why nganong kargado is na at a heart, and with you being a designer, you need to have heart, especially sa imong mga customers.
Right, exactly.
You take care of them.
Yeah, more than sympathy, you have to have empathy. So I sometimes before I treat like customers like patients, but I treat them like they have a pain that you have to address, and then the things that you do for them really you should more or less help them alleviate their needs, in dressing up and for attending a certain occasion that you want to dress them up and style them. So basically, it applies. Nursing really is like a backbone.
Backbone nato.
Yeah,
aside from of course ato ang family values nga atong na-learn.
Correct.
Mo help gid siya kay labi na ato ang kato imong nakalimot gani ko ana Mami Des when you mentioned the CAS, the knowledge attitude and skills.
Right, exactly.
Iko hala si doctors mo ba sa gitna.
It's always something that we should remember. I mean, as nurses, I always remember that KSA, knowledge, skills, and attitude. And when I teach my models or my students for the workshops, I tell them that it also goes the same way, that you have to have knowledge in fashion, in modeling, all the ins and outs, and then you have to have the skills to walk, to pose, and all that. But on top of it all, what really matters is your attitude, towards your knowledge and your skills. And then you take it with you, but of course your attitude, your positivity, and your outlook in life really matters.
Tinuod gina Mami Des. So even sa ato ang mga pageantera nato mo ginatong ginatudlo always and all the time. Okay, Mami Dex. Let's go to kaning how did it start ba gyud nga ning grabe siya. Ning butho ka kay of course naghimo na kag imo pag college nimo. When did it start nga the name Dexter Alazas makuha na siya, makunote na siya to fashion or mapilit na gid siya ba mo bag Dexter Alazas fashion kana ingon ana kay naman gid na certain event so
Yeah.
was there somebody or was there a certain someone nga murag siguro part of it nga the reason she might or he might have worn imuhang gi design and then then that's the pug ni buto na dayon
Yeah, right.
Dexter Alazas.
Well, I think it's a series of fortunate events, sort of. So a lot of things happen along the way. Nga mo sige jud ingon ba nga, it keeps on knocking on my door, sort
Yeah.
of. Nga mura bag designer lagi ka, and you can do this, you can do that, you get recognized in this and that. But one of the best things that happened to me back in 1998 was when one of my gowns was chosen by a stylist in Preview magazine. And
Okay.
Preview magazine is one of the biggest magazines, fashion magazines in the Philippines. And we always buy that every month because, you know, we look forward to what's there in Manila and what's featured there. And I was invited to send a gown for a photo shoot. And I didn't even know was for Claudine Barreto. And back there, Claudine was like already a young diva in the showbiz
Yes.
industry. And so it was intended for the cover of the cover story of Claudine Barreto. And I never thought that when the stylist called me up and said, Dex, do you know that your gown is chosen as the cover of Preview magazine?
Wow.
Yeah, so I was surprised. I don't even want to believe it because sa una man to internet and all, wa man
Wala.
sila
Newspaper gid na.
Exactly. So, what should
Paklig
be
yun ka.
tinuod ba?
Gawas.
Tinuod jud ba nga cover ba gyud
Yeah.
akong gown? And so when it was published, she was wearing the blue gown that I made, and it was beaded with gold. So it's blue and gold combination. That's when it really synced in that I
Designer
made
na
it.
gid ay ka. Designer na gid
Yeah,
ko.
that I arrived actually because I was on the cover and I was very young then. That was 1998. I just opened my shop at that time, my own shop lang, wa na ko nag-work. And then I realized nga kanang murag being in the cover of a magazine really is something that, you know, designers look up to or designers are dreaming of. And that
Yes.
dream came true for me.
Yeah. Kay dili man gid tanan Mami Dex no nga mo kanang especially in this kind of industry in the pageant and the fashion industry dili man gid tanan mo lahutay.
Yeah,
Dili
right.
sa tanan nga kanabang bisag unsaon sa nimo kugi people na mo kugi pangita ang mga tao.
Right.
Kung mo if you make it in this industry swerte gyud kaayo kanang
True,
it's
yeah.
really murag makaingon jud ka ba nga this is really for you, this is really your calling. Kay listen, especially during our time nga dili pa ta ingon ana everybody was looking at Manila as the fashion industry.
Right.
Ang Cebu adto dili pa murag nagsugod pa,
Yes,
naghunat pa nang gamot pa and then
Trying to penetrate
yes,
pag yun,
trying
yeah.
pa yun kesanan. And then here comes a Cebuano nga who's new in the industry, nga mao pa. And then kanang ni diretso. And so this is such a kanang murag prestigious kay ni siya actually.
Yeah.
And then you not just made a name for yourself, but you place Cebu on the map as
right.
one nga murag uy daghan ditang mga young designers mga maayo sa nga taga Cebu sa DI nga kanang ingon ani. So it started from there. But let me go back Mami Dax on sa katang when you were still kanang sugod pa ba. Of course the parents wanted you to be a nurse in a different path. But when you decided ba nga mag-designer ka and eventually nga nag-open na ka, was there more about a little bit of a struggle or were you always supported by your parents?
Well, there's really a lot of struggle actually
Okay.
because to begin with, they enrolled me in a nursing school because they wanted me to become a nurse and probably go abroad and take care of them when they're already abroad in the US. But then it didn't happen for me. And then also my siblings always remind me that, you know, kung nag-nurse jud ka, this is what's gonna happen. Wala lang tani uli si mommy. Naasala dito sa abroad and dito nasag ka. You could have taken care of all of us. And I said, Murag, there's always that kind of like setback in my part that I didn't pursue nursing and that I chose really fashion because that's what I love. And well, there's really a struggle because, you know, being a fashion designer, it doesn't just, you know, you don't just need to know how to design clothes. You have to really work on the business side of it. And then investing on a boutique before is really difficult. It's hard because there's really big names already in the industry, and you as a young designer, if you want to penetrate, you have to prove it, because dili siya pareha karon nga murag you just post on the internet and the Instagram kanang designer na ka, no? You call yourself already, because you got recognized, you got likes, you got already following, then pwede na ka mag-designer.
Designer na ka.
Back in our day, it's really
you have to
hard
work for
because you have to work hard for it. Investment wise, you have to invest, and it's really both financially, you have to like keep up on your toes, because otherwise, masira, or dili ka kapalabi og paggasto and all that. And I think also like there's also one big name designer who also mentioned to me that there's 3 types of designers in this world. That one could be a designer because he might be rich, he can afford to invest.
Right.
Then you could always create your own business.
Right.
Or you might be very talented, you get hired by someone, you become a designer eventually. But there's also people who have luck.
Right.
And I think I had that luck factor in me that we don't have that much, but I'm also not very talented, I think, because I didn't study fashion design. I'm not a fine arts graduate, right? So I don't have the education to back my passion.
Right.
But I guess I was just lucky and worked hard for it. That's why I was able to become a fashion designer. So it's really hard, because some people before me must like, oh, why are you a designer? You're not even a fashion design background. So there was discrimination.
Yes.
Actually, I felt that when I started, because most of the designers are fashion design, fine art students. There was no fashion school before.
Wala,
it was only USC and UP,
Yes.
and then fine arts,
Fine
painting
arts,
pa
yeah.
dun sa UP. And San Carlos had advertising. All the other designers came from USC because they had fashion design as a subject in advertising.
Advertising, yeah.
And some even are interior designers. So if people tell me that, you're not that good enough because you're not even have the educational background for fashion and the arts, I tell myself that, probably, fashion maybe is not just being studied. You have to have experience. And I had experience working behind the scenes in my sister's shop. And so it was really a struggle. But then when, you get recognized, you get all these awards. I mean, I didn't really started big. I started from the bottom up. If you get recognized, I mean, it's really already like a sort of an acknowledgement that you are a fashion designer.
Maon na siya.
Yeah,
The
so
struggles
lisod siya.
na agid siya. And then kana bitang it's so amazing the brilliance kana inyuhang your brain, how it works ba nga dili mag number 1 dapat there's always something new nga dapat within kuan ka sa panahon.
Correct.
And then dili magbalik-balik ang imong design.
You have to be a trendsetter to become a designer.
And then how would you know also nga kaning imong gi-design na abay ako ba ni, is this really ako or naay nakauna na ani kay mo man na karon nga nagkatungod sa kadaghang nag-designer sa kadaghang design nagbalik-balik usahay. So here comes with ang kaning mga the gikopya ni kuan kana bitang mga ingon ana. So these are also the struggles. So and it's not just kay naka-create naka og kaning katong pareha atong kang Claudine naka-create naka. Kinahanglan na sad ka mo create og kanang mas nindot pa nga mas kuan pa nga mas mo labaw pa adtong imuhang na create para naa ka pirmi kay kung wala na sa ka wala mawagtang
visibility is actually important.
Correct, as in before anything else Mami Dex daghan kay naminaw shout out gikan ni Yasmin Enad. So proud of you. God bless you more, of course. And there's something kuan si Edenic Velasco Diano bikini. Bikini. Murag kay ba siguro ka ni Mami Des kung sa ni all about.
Probably because we made bikinis.
Katolaging
we had
the fashion show.
We even have a swimwear line.
Yeah, I know. Murag bikini, murag kamoy nagkasinabot mo diri dapita og unsa. So for those of you who are listening, maayong hapon kaninyong tanan. Again, you are listening to Miss with Miss G here at TMC 105.1 FM, the most Cebu conversation. And again, we are hybrid streaming live on Tops Media Center, FB, TikTok, and YouTube channel. And here with me this afternoon is the amazing, of course, Dexter Alazas, stylographer. Okay. Na-explain na ganihahan ni Mami Dex, ha? Okay. And for those of you nga gusto magpa-explain, you just message it, or if not, i-review balik sa sugod. Kaya pinakauna yun ako siya nga question. Okay. So going back, Mami Dex, the struggle, so starting, and then of course, here comes kaning because of you made the gown kang Claudine, so everything was actually aligning for you.
Yes, right.
So it didn't just stop there. You eventually created more on the artistic direction. Perhaps the reason why you're calling kanang imuhang pagka stylographer karon on the artistic style, but you also have consultancy for events, and you also have branding, and then you also have eventually ventured on modeling, kaning magdala og mga models, and even our mga pageant queens. You have a lot actually. When did it start and how did it start? And then, if I'm not mistaken, lahi ni angalan sa una, and then karun na lahi na ni siya. Please do tell us the story.
That's right. Yeah, the original background there is really the Gaggers group from high school. So sila ako mga models. And even when, in fact, in 1985, imagine, 1985, we were first year. We were first year then. So we created this group called the Gaggers, and we made a dance. I choreographed the dance. At that time, I already call it dance fashion already, because it was a competition between the first year until the fourth year. We were first year. I choreographed a dance with the music of Pet Shop Boys. It's called Opportunities, right? And that's really the first song that really stuck in my mind, that the lyrics was really good, and I loved it. And I choreographed it in a way more on walking and posing me, and 50% is dancing.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why we won, because it was different from the rest of the competitors.
So murag imong gikuan mo siya ang catwalk at the same time.
Exactly.
Nagsaya. So murag jud kag nag-production number actually. Because that is what the production karong panahon na.
Yes.
Okay.
And the Gaggers were my first models. So that's why magsige mikita mi oy gotch kami ba jud ang original.
So that's what the gotch is, kang katong gimimay.
Yeah, that's like sort of like a call name for all of us. Yeah, and then of course I styled them before. We had this photo shoot with all denim and pearls and diamond sort of design, and then we use that in our in our mga posts lately, because we mga throwback
ninyo.
So looking back, I started like that. Now we either had a disco fashion show fundraising activity in high school, and then our models were really real people, manjo, diba? So kami to, that's how it started. And then so I promised myself that maybe in the future I'll handle models, I'll train them, I'll also learn from other people how to train, how to direct models in a way, and do direct fashion shows. But then again, it started like that. So in the years after graduating, and I started designing already, I had clients who have sons and daughters nga mga guwapo-guwapa. So kani sila Jovins Canyazares, Joe Franz Canyazares, sila Elaine Espeleta. These are the families nila mga Canyazares. And then so they're very beautiful people and all, and I said maybe I can do a fashion show. I'll just tap them, because their parents also are okay sad, diba? And so that's how it started. And so I professionalized it in a way when Vern's Buckley already came, the supermodel that I was able to produce from Cebu and Juan in Manila, and was also based abroad for a long time under Ford Models USA. So she was really that big. She was in Johannesburg, South Africa, in the US and Hong Kong, even Asia. So she got really big. So that's how I decided that maybe year 2000 was really that year, because that was the year she won Supermodel of the World Philippines in Manila, and sent abroad in where was that? Basta abroad. Yeah, and then so basically that's how it's 25 years now in the agency. That's how it all started.
Yeah. And then it start with the his call. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
na-message Mar. In siya nga, oh, we remember in class you can't stop sketching dresses and gowns. Ha ha ha.
Yes,
Hala,
right.
okay.
Oh my God.
Nagnaminaw gyud sila nimo karon as in very
Yeah.
supportive ang imong
Thank you.
mga
As always.
imong mga
As
guts.
always.
Guts.
Yeah, right.
So it
Yeah.
started there, Mami Dex, and then ang imuhang modeling agency,
Yeah.
it was named
It was named AD Models Philippines. I called it AD because not just my name as Alazas Dexter, but there's like a little sort of another term that I use because like in the Bible it's like
AD.
AD is after
Anno
death,
Domini,
right?
yeah,
Anno
after death,
Domini. But then again, for me, it's like a rebirth of
Right.
something that you had in the past. So I wanted to reinvent, made a rebirth on the modeling industry. To put there before man good, you have to be a model. You have to be either super pretty or super tall
yes.
to be a model. Or
Yes.
even you're like a socialite
Yes.
to become a model. Inaana nagsugod ang mga model sa unang panahon. And so I said, they don't necessarily need to be lanky. They don't necessarily need to be slim. They can even be shorter, basta pretty, because there's commercials for modeling, right?
Right.
Because some of my nephew, my cousin's daughter, appeared on a commercial before. Her name is Isabel Lozano, if you're listening, Isabel. She was the second model of Palmolive who came out after Alice Dixon. So if Alice Dixon is gotcha, I can feel it.
I can feel it.
My pamangkin who
Moto
Isabel
siyang
is gotcha.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Ah.
gotcha. When the
Katong nakuha, oh, yeah.
commercial ends.
I remember that
Yeah.
one. Okay.
So she's and so she's a commercial model, but she's really tall also. But I said, you can't just be a runway model because when there are
Right.
fashion shows, where do you go? So there was a time that Vance Buckley was the epitome of beautiful, tall model who can speak well, who has that like sort of Eurasian image. Yeah, because her dad is British. So that's how I started, like mixing models from real people to even lanky to short ones. So I said I want to
Na
rebirth.
kay inclusivity kumbaga.
That then I didn't know it was inclusivity, but then I wanted to have a mix of all these print, runway, commercial models, and even pageant people who pageant enthusiasts in the future. So, but we had bashers before. we call it mga antagonists before.
Antagonists
Ano
before,
mag-modeling agency
modeling.
man na siya. Oy nga, designer man na siya. Ganahan sa siya mag-modeling agency. I was even called before like a slasher.
Oh,
Kay
really?
slash ko designer.
There's slash. Oh, someone na
modeling
siya
agency, slash and all that. But before, di ba, inaana alang term. But then again, of course, if you're an influencer now, you can be an artista, you can be an endorser, you can be something else, you can even be a singer. So that before, wala kaya ba mga tao that to be a slasher before, to have multiple, it's called now a polymath.
Yeah. Pero
Diba?
ikaw said, Mami Das, during
But
your
what
time,
ka realize, Ana, before?
what ka realize before, but you were already an entrepreneur before. Perhaps sa imuhang time, nakita na nimo ba nga, mura bag, manghimo naman lang kog sanina, magkuan, why not
Yeah.
venture also? Kay para sayo na lang sad nimo nga naa kay sanina, naa kay models nga
Right.
mo, kanang mo, murag mo showcase sa imong sanina. So it
Yeah.
really goes hand in hand.
Correct. And even
You
some of
saw
them
that
pay for their
already.
clothes.
Yes, and then I think you've seen that already.
Yeah,
You
I
saw
think
that
so,
one
yeah,
sa
right.
imuhang because you have a business background. You have
Right.
an entrepreneur background with your sister and all those
Yes.
things. So perhaps what they see it as something new niya. Kay ba na kaning atong mga kaliwat in town yung mga Pinoy nga kung naay something new,
Yeah.
if they cannot understand it, sometimes matapulan to get to know unsa na siya. So tendency would be backlash good or
Right.
mga
Nasa tayo mga
Oo,
mga
naasa
tao
ta.
before who
Oo.
don't like us. Actually, why we're here.
why we're here like that.
Yeah,
Kay duha raman gyud na, it's either di gyud sila ganahan or
Yeah.
perhaps there's something behind it nga. They see it nga nabuhat nimo wala ko mabuhat mo kana bitang ingon ana.
Maybe, yeah, right.
Usually.
I was just really like a person who's really like ambivalent. Like sometimes if I don't like this one, I try another one, and like I'm ambivert siguro.
Yes.
Sometimes if doesn't work in fashion, I do the modeling stuff and I
Right.
balance it together. And also like I'm the kind of person who likes trial and error.
Yes.
Where I try it, I take a risk, I do this, and it doesn't work, that's fine. But if really it works, then I pursue and I continue it, and I need to be consistent about it if it really works. So I'm like that.
So
Even until now.
even until now. So
Yeah.
mo na siya ang imong AD model. how did it came nga nganong na tawag siya admire model na
Yeah,
karon?
right. So through the years, actually after 10 years, I thought maybe nilast naman siya 10 years.
Yes.
And then when it became 15 years, I thought nga murag, I've produced a lot of models already. So there was Verns Buckley and Jovens Canyazares, so really really big. They made it in Manila, they made it abroad, Asia and all that. And I was so proud of that, and they were also even like happy that we started like that. And then they came Carla Henry, who won Miss Earth with the help, of course, a lot of people from Manila as well. Chris Hanson, Rogeli Katakutan, with the help of Mami Jonas,
Yes.
and all. So I've produced these names. There was AJ Winkler, who won a supermodel search in Manila for male models. And so there was a time that I was really able to produce all these admirable models. And since the root word is AD models, AD, sort of, I would have wanted to reinvent it as early as possible, but then the pandemic came. My original Facebook got hacked.
Oh,
So di na ako
okay.
magamit ang page ng
Page
AD
ng AD
models. And I
models.
cannot seem to like realign my password and all that. Diyan ako makuwag balik ang name. So I said, maybe it's high time I talked to Verns Buckley. Because back then, nag-live ko on Facebook because watay gibuhat for a pandemic. And so I told Verns, maybe I'll rebrand it into Admire Models Philippines, like Admire, because of course all of you have been very admirable. You've transcended from being just a fashion model. You didn't settle when you got married. So
Yes.
Verns is actually like she published a book. 2 books already, and she won an award for that.
Wow.
And she's also very into kendo. She's a mom. She was also a chef because she opened up a restaurant in Burga Circle in Manila. So I said, yeah, you're that epitome of Admire Models Philippines. So it should be rebranded as Admire Models.
So what year na siya mami nga na-rebranded to Admire Models?
It started before the pandemic, and I really tried to like really change it na gyud 2021, 2020 because of that page sa Facebook.
Sa Facebook.
Yes.
Murag catalyst siya nga
Exactly.
perhaps change na gyud siguro.
Right. I think it like a pivoting factor nga murag wa naman jud mo nakuha imong AD models. I don't wanna redo it again kay maglibog niya mga
Maglibog
tao.
na, oo.
Nga, duha lagi ka AD models ang page, maybe one is fake and something like that. So I changed it. I
Muna siya
rebranded
na-admire.
it. Yeah.
Everything with you is about alignment.
Yeah.
From the time that you started ang imuha nursing and then shifting becoming a designer,
I always believe
Murag-
in luck. I think there's a luck factor.
there's a luck or perhaps in a more perhaps with God's grace kana siya.
We wanted to,
I'll feel that
consider
one
it
ba
that
nga
way.
murag calling gid ni siya with God's grace and everything. But you wanted to rebrand it, and then there you go. Na from the AD unya na admire siya, and then catalyst, and it's really doing really very well.
Thank you.
As in
We're working hard.
actually daghan we have a lot kay we have a lot of modeling agencies, and this is one ang admire and then for those people nga wala kahibaw, mao ni siya ang katong the 25 years ago nga with the classmates from high school kama Mides. So this really is the transition sa imuha. Then perhaps the reason why nga imuhang when you were thinking during the pandemic also ug unsay itawag somebody who is a fashion designer, an entrepreneur, a consultancy, and all those the evolution that is DEXTER Alazas, and then comes kanishang from fashion to design to style, and thus the word stylographer. Mao na siya diha, and this is uniquely imuha.
Yep.
Nga kanang so far. When did the hablon actually? Let's talk a little bit about hablon, Mami Dex. Kay kanisha, this is your advocacy.
Right, that's
and
true.
I'm so happy nga there's somebody nga from the fashion world nga who took time gyud nga kanang i-introduce. In fact, I was so happy when I was pag 2022 na invite ko as the personality development trainer. Nakita ta dito sa Miss Cebu, remember?
Yeah, right.
And then one of their gifts sa Miss Cebu 2022 was the hablon from Argao. And even until now, I'm keeping it. I always wear it. It's really very nice. It's very elegant actually. And
it's our own.
Yes. Cebuano made gyud siya. Cebu made gyud siya. Kamot gyud nig ana nimo ba makibaw gyud ka kamot gyud sa mga Cebuano, the ingenuity and everything. But how did you when did it start ba? And why of all the what unsa may naa sa hablon that really piqued your interest?
Yeah. So it really is there's a really long story behind it. Started
we have time,
also
it's okay.
in year 2000. So I there was this big competition, design competition called Mega Magazine Young Designers Competition, Mega YDC, and the first winners of that were Fern One and Mario Retersos. So they were the first winners of that. Back in the day, we always dreamed of joining this competition. And in year 2000, I was part of the 3 finalists from Cebu. So there were 6 finalists all over the Philippines.
Right.
And the 3 are from Cebu, me, Edwin Au, and Alejandro Godinez. We were all 3. And then, so you have to create a 10-piece collection, which is really cohesive and talks about a theme. And the theme by that time was time travel. And so because I'm a Cebuano designer, and when I presented my design sketchbook to the Mega Magazine team, I thought of the hablon. I've heard of the hablon because it's like an industry before which makes towels and mga blankets and curtains before. But of course, there was also a hablon in Iloilo. So I said, maybe the hablon in Argao is really something that I can work on as a material to be used for the competition since I'm Cebuano. And I want to talk about that narrative nga I'm from Cebu and all that.
Right.
So I went to Argao. Sa unang panahon, murag, bata pa ka, murag layo naman ka yung Argao.
Layo ka ay, yung magbus pa ka.
Yeah, and then magbus ka. And then, pagkaban ako dito, ingon ang mga weavers nga, they cannot take my order because mahal siya. So I think I said maybe I can't afford it yet because you have to order the kagdaghan and all. And it took time for them to make it. So I said, murag dili siya kaapa sa deadline. So I tried to shelve it off. Murag ipadaplin sa nako siya, gipark sa nako siya. And then I used another fabric instead, cotton and other things that are recycled to use as the material when I joined the competition in Manila. Kaya naman may deadline. So I couldn't wait for the weavers to have it done. So what na-achieve akong gusto. So I said, maybe one of these days, I didn't win in Manila. I was just a finalist. But I was really happy because I was considered to be one of also the best there. So then I promised myself that maybe years after when I'm bigger, I'm better, and I can afford to really work on this, I'll make sure that I'll revisit it and work on that. So in year 2014, back then, Vice Governor Agnes Magpale was really a close friend of my relatives also in Danao. And then also, she was a client. And my shop before was just across Capitol Building. So it's just there. And my second floor had a show window. So they always see my window. And that's why Madam Agnes, if you're listening, hello, you're part of this because she started it. So when she came to me, magdash mga fabrics from other places. I said, Madam, why don't you revive the industry in Argao? Nga siya, oh, there's something like that in Argao. We should talk about that one of these days. Maybe we'll find time later on. But for now, kanilang sa ako ang Husi and Pinya from Iloilo. So I made that. Sigog balik-balik ka na niya, Madam, don't forget, every time mo ato siya mag-fitting. So there was a time when Argao, CTU, they have this campaign of reviving it. And so also, the Vice Mayor then, Dr. Stanley Caminero, came to Madam Agnes Magpale. And so I had a ring one time, and the secretary of Madam Agnes said, Dex, can you come to the office because Madam wants to speak with you. So I said, go dayon because narabaya. May balik sabihin mo.
Labang lang. Okay.
Wabya kay gibuhat na. We can see you.
Nakakita mo
So why don't you come up here in the office? So I went there, and what a surprise. The people from Argao were there. And so Madam Agnes said, "Oh, this is your dream, di ba? Sige ka balik-balik ani nga mo na
Yeah.
hablon in Argao. We have to revive. Mo na gyud ni siya nga day.
Right.
This is the time that nga murag mo na gyud ni siya imong lingkuran. So this is Vice Mayor Stanley and this is Dexter. Mo ni ang balik-balik. So siya na gyud ang imuhang kwaon ani doc para mubuhat ani. So let's start reviving it. So we started to sort of research about it. And back then we found out that there were only 8 weavers left in Argao. And dili sila bata ha, mga
Of course,
40
mga-
plus na.
okay.
Idara na 40, 50. The youngest was 40 something. And so if and when wala mo siya try to promote and all
Yeah.
and revive,
So,
it
walo
would be
na
a
lang?
dying industry. We called it already a dying. Yeah, walo na lang. It was a dying.
Wala say napasa or
Walay napasa because you know what, kaning mga weaving mga industry nakapadato nila sort of nakapaeskwela sila mga anak, na
Yeah.
engineer, na nurse, na doctor or kadang nagseaman. So when they come, di na sila ganahan mag-weavers because they're for better opportunity abroad.
Yeah, but the craft,
Nakapaeskwela nila
kasayang
ang
sa craft
weaving.
if dili ni mo
Yes.
i-pass on sa younger generation, nga,
That's
you know,
why.
nga kani siya ato agyud sa buwano
Yeah,
manggod siya good.
That's true. So when we heard about that, so Madam Agnes said, "What are we gonna do with this?" And then padung na ang fiesta sa Argao. We need
Right.
to promote it at the fiesta. Kay mura ba siya og kanang perfect timing
Yes.
that there's a venue for it. There's a platform to do it in the Dalagang Argawanan competition. So I had to really create new line of weaving patterns for them. And so, magdili sila mo dawat because kanabang mo lisod ang
Lisod
pattern.
ang pattern, oo.
So, Madam Agnes said, now, why don't we tap Dole, we tap DTI
Right.
for the threads, Dole for the kanang, how do you call that, the subsidy of the bayad sa mga weavers nga per day para mahuman gyud siya in 3 months. It was a 3-month period gatahi himuon siya ang weaves. And I was always there. Pukawon ko nila early morning nga Dex, 6 a.m. mo larga ang van padung sa Argao. You have to come with us. Kuyog sa mga taga Capitol.
Oo.
So I always do that because I also live in Capitol that time. So kinahanglan mo adto jud ko and then try to create new patterns. We tried on sa mga because back then ilang niba on stripes and checkered lang,
Yes,
and then
mao man-
plain. So I tried to create big patterns, big checks, big stripes, and then created monochromatic designs like radiant color from dark to light. So it was really painstakingly done. Kay mura mo birthing pains sila, nagbalik sila og
Nagbalik,
sugod
oo.
training. But then of course it was really successful. That's how it started. And my prototypes were left. It's there in Argao CTU now. It's left there as their prototype. And then now it's really good. In fact, di na mi ka-order dayon dali-dali because daghan na kay orders.
Daghan na kayong
sila.
orders.
It really is now a thriving industry more and left with a dying industry before. So it's a thriving industry now.
So because of that, because of the collaboration, and it's a good thing, no? Again, congratulations to you
Thank
and
you.
Madam Agnes magpalaw on this one niya. A dying, yes, kanang kay because minus namang good, liman ka nang 8 na lang kabuok,
Yeah,
and then
right.
eventually karon it's thriving.
Yes,
Now, ang
right.
akong question, Mami Dex, is this. A lot, dili kayo makapalit, of course, no, ingon ana,
Right.
because mahal siya.
Yes.
Okay, perhaps explain sa ato ang mga listeners nga nganong dili kanang usay because TMC is promoting local and proud, and
Yeah, right.
of course the Hablon being local and proud, we really also would want to promote
Yeah.
this one as part of our advocacy nga dapat magsinuporta ay ta mga Pinoy, but a lot of nga mga sulti is this nga lisod ka ayo i-promote nga lisod ka ayo siya, number 1 i-acquire,
Okay,
number
yeah.
2 is mahal.
Yeah.
So perhaps usahay magud og ingon ana na ang mga tao kana laging katapulan usahay will not look into it, will not dwell into the reason as to why
Right,
ngano siya.
yeah.
So the reason why nganong mahal siya and the reason nganong lisod siya is i-acquire, kindly inform ang ato ang
Yeah.
listeners og ngano ni siya.
Yeah, right. Whenever I promote it, whenever I do pop-ups, whenever I bring that to a client or in Manila and abroad, we always tell people that it's not machine made.
Yes.
It's not automated. It's hand hand-woven.
Yeah.
It's done by hand, so it's really takes time. It's like so the art is really there, and you have to consider that these are human resources. These are like people who really do that, not machine. Compared to the materials abroad that are machine made, it's quick and done in an
Right.
instant. This one, it takes really for a new weaver to weave 1 meter, it takes them 3 days.
3 days.
For a new weaver lang. And if you pay them murag barato lang sa ilang 3 days, you mean you're lowering their labor cost. So murag imo silang grabe gidown.
Yeah.
So you have to reconsider that the hablon is a special piece of fabric
Right.
that it's not just for everyday use probably, but it's a special fabric that
Correct.
it's not you're not just there to buy it, but you're there to support the industry behind it and the people who are weaving the hablon, the weavers, who's really the backbone community of the weaving industry. So that's why it's expensive. So imagine kung expert ka, you could even make siguro 3 meters in 1 day. But kung di ka expert, that's why mahal siya.
Mahal siya.
Because of that. Instead, pwede na to i-lower ilang labor cost.
And then ang materials also.
Yeah, the materials actually in Argao, we're using the thread lang for now. But sooner or later, that's my campaign. That's my next part of the advocacy because
Yes.
we have now, it's called the PTF, the Philippine Tropical Fabric Law. So we have that already. It's now a law where we have to promote tropical fibers to be used as the threads and the yarns for the weaving, for these weaves. So we're trying to get help from a lot of people in the industry, even the private sector now. So
Right.
we're calling people from the chamber or we're calling people from the business sector or the private sector to really help out on this industry, even government.
Right.
Because it's really like it would be really be good if we can use natural
Fiber.
Yeah. So but it's really easy now. If you just click on Hablon de Argao, you can and you can get it from CTU Argao or CTU main campus because now the shared service facility of DTI was already turned over to CTU. So CTU
that's
now
nice.
owns
Yeah.
the weaving community of Argao. It's inside the campus of CTU Argao. So you can order from CTU campus Argao or the CTU main. Just look for Ma'am Jorilyn Concepcion. She's the head of the weaving community.
Okay. Nindot sa dyan, no, kay ilang gi-align ang kuan niya, ilang partner with the school and then
Yeah.
mo na nga karon ni thrive na gyud noon
Right.
siya
Yes.
being from it sa pag 2000 nga dying siya liman ka
Yeah.
ng 8 ka book and then now and then perhaps ilang gitudlo na sad sa mga mga estudyante as part of siguro sa
Right.
ilahang like sa livelihood program or unsa na nga mga programa going back to basic siya ba
Yeah.
nga this is how we create our fabric.
Right.
Ang maura sad niya ako nabantayan sa Mamidas no. Kanang paghimo og hablon lisod, it is considered probably mura na siya blue collar job diri sa Pilipinas kan pareha ng mga kanang
Yeah.
asag bugat. Sometimes it's kind of funny no nga ang kaning mga trabaho nga requires a lot of work nga kamot og kanang kusog mo'y mga gagmay og sweldo.
Yeah, right.
Unya ang kaning maglingkod la. Kay tungod higher
Yeah,
us or
right.
ana.
That's
Dagko
true.
kay sweldo. And then usahay ka ng hangyoon pa ang mga
Tinuod.
naa sa ubos
Yeah.
mo pwede baratuhon yan. They don't know ba nga
The labor behind
yes, the
it.
labor behind
diba?
it.
The heart and soul of all these
Exactly.
people where that's the only industry they know. That's the only skill they know. So we should,
We have to
respect them for
support
and
natong
support them for
maayo.
what they know because that's the only livelihood they know of.
Yes, and
So,
then sila
yeah.
expertise ni nila and
Right.
that expertise the hand ang
Yeah.
ilahang ulo o ang ilahang
Right.
ang ilahang kuan it should be protected. It
Yeah.
should be kay
The
ikaw ra ko'y
skill,
nakahibaw ana gud di man ka from
It's a
8
skill.
mo nya mao lang gyud ning ato kanang they always think ay mahal kay tanan so
Lagi.
og mahal kay tanan dili na lang
I don't know why Cebuanos are sometimes like that with the buyers. If it's imported, it's from this designer. If it's this brand from abroad, they will
Yeah.
buy it. Smangutang bagay sila
Yung
para
mahal kayo
makapalit.
tanan.
But when you talk about local products, no, di sila ganahan mga mamalit. you know,
Correct.
there's something in the colonial mentality of Cebuanos, pardon me for saying
Yes,
that, but
pero it's true. It is
yeah,
true.
it's different. You know, they don't. But sometimes in Manila, they buy more of the local
Mm-mm.
things because I think siguro some people there they love buying and supporting people,
Mm-mm.
and I think that's something that Cebuanos should also learn. That's why we have a campaign. I
Right.
have a personal campaign. It's called Wear Cebu. Yeah,
Yes.
so you have to wear Cebu
You
on your
have to
sleeves with
wear.
pride because you know you have to support your own, and for us to really to really think about being the creative industries. You know, we are the UNESCO Creative City. City of Design. We are
Mm.
awarded that from UNESCO,
Mm-mm.
and it ends on the 30 on this on 2030.
Mm.
So kanang it's a 10-year grant from UNESCO if I'm not mistaken. So we are considered a city of design. So this is part of that advocacy that we want to keep that momentum and that certain identity of Cebu as a fashion designer and as a creative industry.
Bito.
Yeah.
Kaya dapat proud ta ba nga iniingon og hablon ay sa Cebu.
Yeah,
Kana bitang
right.
ma-equate dayon inig na ay mention
Yeah.
it should be something nga kinahanglan kita mismo proud ta. And if kita lang unta pod, we support our local businesses, our atong mga the people behind it, atong mga negosyo nga local and proud. We lift each other up. And then
Exactly.
eventually, we get to be well known on that one. Murag, I think that's the reason why ni thrive ang ato ang fashion also and our pageant industry. Nga we have become also the powerhouse sa pageantry ang Cebu
Right.
because karon lahi naman ron, but during katong a few years before the pandemic, especially katong panahon nga
Yeah.
buhi pa sad si Anhing Jonas is everybody is one. It doesn't matter asa ka nga
Yeah, correct.
modeling agency. It doesn't matter kinsa ang ga kuan mo. We are all one. We help each other, you know, we lift each other up. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Basta Bisaya.
Basta
guwapa.
Bisaya. Oh, kana. Basta Bisaya. Guwapa. Of course. So, murag ingon ana ba? Karong panahon na murag isig the crab mentality is becoming very grabe na.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
as in ang sa ato ang generation lahi man gyud uy kay
Yeah, oo,
magtinabangay
lisod.
ta.
Yeah, right.
Do naagi hapoy
Maybe because it wasn't instantly given to us,
Right.
right? But we have to work hard for it before we arrive in that kind of identity and that brand, diba?
kay we work hard for it, lisod siya, we
Yeah.
take care of it, especially
yeah.
the people and the relationship of it. Karon magong panahon na tungod kasi siguro sa kadali
Sa
na.
fast-paced siguro
Yes,
ba,
nya.
mga bagya.
It mataken for granted kay dali ra man nakuha mura ra gwa nila. Dili
exactly.
pareha sa ato ba nga we work for it for how many years, we take care of it.
Right,
We
yeah.
take care of the
There's a
integrity.
sentimental value is still there.
Yes, naa diha. So I think this is one of the reasons nga nung until karon fashion designers, entrepreneurs and even mga the pageant industry nga sa atuang panahon, sa atong generation, Mami Dex, is still there. Naapat ta. We're still thriving despite of sa atong golden age.
Tinuod,
Yes,
no?
but nagkalami, no? O, sa
Yeah,
golden age, no? Just like wine. Oh,
That's
mo
true.
na nga na we're still here right now nga
Right,
kuan
yeah.
gihapon. So, moving forward, your Admire model is imo siyang gi-transition. So karon you have mga workshop and you call this one Stylissimo. you tell us about
Yeah,
Stylissimo.
it all started long before. That was our first title for our workshop because for me, like the Stylissimo Manggod before, there wasn't. The workshop started like not just models. Naasad ko'y fashion design students before. So I tried to mentor a few fashion designers before.
Right.
Because the only fashion school before was San Carlos, USC, right? And so there was no FIDA yet, there was no FIP yet in Cebu. So there were a lot of young designers who wanted me to help them.
Right.
So the Stylissimo started like a fashion design course / modeling workshop and also styling because I also of course met Jessie Glova, who is also a makeup artist.
Yes, she was a guest last week.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So we all started like that, and then the first workshop I think was in Park Mall a long time ago. Plugging. Yeah, so that was how it all started. So it was that kind of workshop. But then later on, murag na naman to yung mga design schools.
Right.
I stopped na doing that because there's already like an entity that really, people enroll. So we stick to modeling na lang after. So the modeling now is not just about fashion runway,
Right.
posing and all that. It's more of like a mix of branding and image styling.
Right.
So it's not just about being a model who can do pageants, you can walk. It's more about restyling personalities. So it's with fashion, the way they dress up, the way they project
Nagyapoy personality
themselves.
development.
There is
Oo.
a little bit of that, but more of how they carry themselves, how they put their names in a certain, in a certain way, how they
Right.
take care of their name, not just a model. That things like, may escalate in a way if you don't take care of, yourself in a morally upright way.
Right.
So basically, that's part of that. And the image for me, the branding, branding is really important. Yeah.
You have an upcoming, di ba? Nga
Yes,
stylissimo, which is?
Which is this September. It's gonna be every Sunday, but it's gonna be like a one-on-one session now. It's not really like a group session, but it really depends if their schedules align.
Right.
Because back in summer we had the Saturday Sunday workshops, but even some can't make Saturdays because I school. So now we tried to make Sundays lang because why school, why work ang uban, and there are inquiries of older women like 30s who just wants to know a little bit of how they want to pose in the camera or how they want to project on social media.
Yes.
So these are the people that wanted to enroll. So I said, I didn't want to open in September, but then there was really a lot of people asking if I can do another one. So
Right.
I said yes, and then it's gonna start on Sundays, but it's gonna be like a one-on-one workshop where I set the appointment, they also set the appointment, and then we try to work in a way that our schedules align.
Perhaps with the kating mga older nimo nga mga clients, Mami Dex, it's more on like posters, the etiquette and how they present themselves at the same time.
Right, correct.
There are a lot nga kanang mga women karon, especially at that age, who are trying to focus more loving themselves more. And I think
Right,
this is one way.
celebrating women.
Yes, so this is one way nga kanang dili lang sa talo siyang tan-aw, dili lang sa ta.
Right,
So at least
exactly.
maka feel good sa ta sa tong kugalingon, and then part of it is of course the posture, and this is one of those nga maka help sa imuha. So you have a lot of models already, daghan jud kay tanan, and in fact sa one of the guests that I have, si Lars is one of those,
Yeah.
and then si Anika, and then si Rosary.
Yeah.
We're in this two you discovered during the Binibining Talamban.
Yeah, right.
So this is my question, Mami Dex. What do you look for ba in your models or in your sa imuhang sa runway, number one runway, and then of course there's another one kanang portrait lang ba na siya, or and then commercials. What do you look for? Kay of course ang mga tao ila man gyud ayon, dapat taas ka, dapat gwapa ka, dapat naa kay kuan, but we've mentioned before nga there is already inclusivity.
Right.
Mao naman ang term karon sa una wala na siya. So what is it that the Dexter Alazas is looking for?
Right.
Yes.
Well, first of all, she has to look admirable.
Admire model. Yes, okay.
But yeah, that's true. Well, in fact, when we discover models, they have to have that character. They don't necessarily need to be very beautiful
Yes.
or very stunning, but they have to have that certain character that can call my attention. Actually, that's how if it evokes something in me that, like for example, we talk about Anika, right?
Yes.
So Anika has that sort of, I already envisioned my collection. It's called Maria Cacao. I'm reviving that story, the narrative behind Maria Cacao. I already envisioned her in that. So pag
With the hair and the
niya,
color
with the
niya,
hair,
no?
the colors and skin and all that, I said, mura siyag modern day Cebuana Diwata.
Yes.
So I thought of it that way, and I like her character, her look. And when I interviewed her, when I talked to her, that was even more like a plus factor.
Right.
Because attitude to me is really, really important.
Exactly.
More than just the walking skills and then her whole beauty and all that. I find her really, really beautiful. So that's why I got her. For Rose naman, she was really like kind of striking in a way. her looks, and she singled out to me. I saw her as somebody really different from the rest of the candidates
Right.
there.
Oo.
So she stood out as a character face, but we're really Filipina beauty. And I like that because we want to embrace, the morena beauty.
Correct.
Because of course there's a lot of mestiza out there, but
May sad mo project si Rose. And
May sad
then,
siya
of course, no,
mo-project.
taas, no?
yes,
That's a
and
plus
the beauty
factor. Yes.
also, and she walks really well. So that's why she got that award also from the catwalk.
Yeah.
And so it's really the character of a person. Even like people, when you see Lars is kind of a toss between a hunk, a man, a boy.
Yeah,
and
yeah. Mura
also
siya
like
Amerikano, mura sa
Amerikano
siya.
nga, murag,
Oo.
mura siya
Murag Turko
Jamaican,
nga.
murag
Yeah,
Turko,
oo.
yeah. And his hair sometimes can be kept,
Yeah,
but sometimes
because
kulot.
kulot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has that character. So when I saw him on social media, because he's the son of one of the models before,
Yes,
Kent Dawson. So I said, he has this looks. I'm sure na siya jeans sa iyang dad.
Yes.
So ako siyang ipadaot. Kay chubby siya before.
Mo iyang giingon.
Yeah.
Chubby, di ko rin siya sa una.
Right.
Oo.
And then, wapa siya ni Yes for a year. And then after a year, I convinced him, and he said finally, and then yes. And then, so that's how it's all started. So I find a character because for me naman, in the modeling agency, it's not just runway models. You have to be versatile. You have to
Yes.
be really, you have to talk. If you cannot talk well, you have to project well.
Yes.
The other way around. If you have all these characters, or
The
these,
better.
the better.
Oo.
Diba? It's a bonus already. But then again, you have the character look. You can offer a black girl. You can offer a mestiza. You can offer a really pretty face, maybe not so tall, but really commercial. So print, runway, TV commercials, endorsements, and now being influencers is really,
Right.
an influencer is really like something that an agency should look also for, because some brands are looking for the following, some brands
Yes.
are looking for the image.
Correct.
And it's also like that.
Lahi sad ang imuhang kuan sa because the way I see it no is kanabang you really take care. You're like a parent. You take care of them like they are your
More
own.
like a big sister siguro.
Yeah. Sige na lang. Sige, go. No, anyway.
Right.
Yes, more like a sister.
Yeah,
a
or big
big
brother,
sister.
sort of,
Oo.
yeah.
Kasi ato ang industry, mommy, man yun na. Mommy,
right,
danay, nana.
yeah.
But
Sometimes I refuse to be called mommy.
but we're friends. So sige
Yeah,
na, Mommy
right.
Dex.
Yeah, correct.
Naanad ako. Anyway. But anyway, because ang ilaha is when I asked Anika, so how is it?
Yeah.
And then this and this. Okay ra gyud, so di ba? I told you may ragid kay na mudasi kaan so Sir Dexter may ilang tawag sa imo. So mo to nga you go beyond manggod because you treat them as number one family. And then this is one thing that I see in you. Dili ka mo focus ana nga kana rasya nga model because perhaps kay namang ubang model nga who can bring home the bacon more than the others, but you treat them all the same. It doesn't matter nga naa na ningan even those nga kanang dili kaayo nimo. In fact, you push further katong wala pa kaayo makapangalan para at par sad sila with the others. This is what I see sa imuhang pagdala because ang there are those nga ang ako makita nga they are just taking care of katurang
The
ilahang
marketable ones.
the marketable ones, the ones who can bring them more money, and the ones who are well known, which is defeats the purpose ba nga mo bitaw na nga gisulod sa agency or pa-help sa inyo is para ang kani siya nga bata or model nga mo kuan sad so kung if it
Grow.
needs and if there's need and kuan supportaan in this, but ang uban dili with you you market everyone and you make sure that they have equal opportunity. And I can see nga na uban they're not really that super guapa, but nindot sila mo project. There are uban sad nga dili sila taas, di sila daot kaayo na uban chubby, but you still sa ilaha. This is one thing, and I really thank you for that one. I think that's really really nice. And makaingon sa uban ba nga dili ra gyud ay kinahanglan ka guwapa.
Exactly. In fact, you don't need to be really really that slim, because there's even designers, for one of the best designers and like an icon that I consider, and of course I admire a lot, Philip Rodriguez.
Yes.
He's really like, I work with him, I work for him. He also doesn't like sometimes very slim models, because when you sell the clothes, the real people are not really
Not
that
really slim, yes.
right?
Oo.
So the more people who buy it are the not so small, right?
Yes.
Right. So yeah, sometimes Philip is okay with not so slim,
Mas
more
realistic
real,
man good, yeah.
right? Because his clothes can be small, medium, large, but some of them are really like the buyers are really not that small. Yeah, so like that, Philip has also that kind of idea that
Yes.
it can be worn by anyone, not just slim
Not
models.
just
So that's why I cater to that as well. And if you're a model, you're not that tall, or maybe you're tall, you're not that slim, but you have a personality, and
right.
I find it very interesting. I really love more of learning of a personality of a person because mura ba siya, it's a smorgasbord of everything. Like it's a melting pot of all these different characters. I love that. Than having a cookie cutter mga murag look
Correct.
and image of a certain model or even a beauty queen.
Yes, and it defeats also the purpose or the advocacy nga we part as sa ato ang pageant industry and our fashion industry,
Yeah.
a modeling agency, that we need to be accepted. We need to be inclusive.
Yeah.
And then if you are choosing a specific model for,
Right.
so it defeats the purpose nga, dili sila open, dili sila
Yeah,
inclusive.
exactly. In fact, you know what?
Yeah.
In my modeling workshop 2 years ago in the pandemic, it was called shapeless, genderless. What's this kind of workshop?
Right.
So there was no gender bias. There was
Yes.
also no shape that we require. It's even, and it's also ageless.
Ageless,
So we had
yes.
people who are even like older and very young. Anybody can be a model because the
Correct.
real life story behind the image that we're projecting is really a lifestyle. You know, like in real estates, you need a lolo, you need a grandpa, you need a young, you need a kid, you need like a toddler even. So it's a modeling industry is open for all. When you talk about commercials, it's really open for all. So
Yes.
so you don't limit yourself from being a fashion model or a runway model. You have the model for me is like that epitome where you just is somebody who people can emulate or empathize or even people who can relate to.
Relate to.
Relatability is really important also for me.
Mas maka para na ako like mopalit ko ana kay makasulob raman di ay bisag kanang
Yeah.
dili ko kuan kay magtan-aw gud niya daw di na kong palit ana kay pang model raman na kanang kinahanglan ka taas niya di ba ako taas ka na bitang mga ingon na ana.
Yeah, practically also as a designer because my
Right.
background is fashion design. I'm a designer also. I don't want my clothes to be in the kavan or in the racks.
naalang diha.
magbitay,
Kinahanglan
no?
magamit
It has to
gyud.
sell. It has to, and then some of my clients are not really slim, right?
Yes.
So it has to cater to different types of bodies. So I understand in a way because I'm not just an agent and not just a manager for models. I'm a fashion designer, and
Right.
that's a problem also with fashion. When dagaan kag all slim models, and after that mahanger na lang siya tanan because
Right.
di siya
Di siya
mapalit, di siya mahalin sa
Di
real
masulob.
people. Di masulob. So it defeats the purpose of selling when in fact
Right.
fashion is really a business in its entirety.
Oo.
Yeah.
Happy naman gani kay ko usay ka na makakita ko ba nga they even include ka ng mga plus size
Yeah,
models.
exactly,
Kay
yeah.
especially like karong panahon na nga kanang with all the people who are na ato namang yun nang na kung ano nga we need to take care of our mental health.
Yeah.
And then sometimes of course kung saan to pa slim di ta mo slim kay usahay binging is
Right,
part of
yeah,
taking care of
correct.
our mental health. So mutambok-tambok gyud ta.
Tinuod.
Unyong nana sa like me, di na gyud ko mobalik atong ako ang
Yeah.
sus marusap mga hawak nga pila to. Kay I have
But there's always a design for everyone.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what the purpose of designers actually to create something that suits the body type, the
Correct.
age bracket, and the lifestyle of a client or a person who wears your clothes.
Kaya
Yeah.
ang connotation man gud sa mga tao, mga models, mga slim gud na mga yan ana ba. So kita din like ikaw Mami Dex, you always make sure nga fashion clothes is for everybody.
Yeah, it has to be worn by someone.
Nga ingon ana
Yeah.
or else wala. So that's why makita na ko ba the different models that you have nga
Yeah.
kuan that sense of inclusivity.
Yeah,
Kay
right.
even kita sa ato ang pageant world and you in the fashion world sa pagka designer, you are also fighting for sa imuha sang right to be included as at the
Right.
same time. Because sometimes we are being discriminated, especially
Yeah.
ang LGBT, especially
Right.
kami, like sa ako as a single mom.
Mm.
Yeah, of course,
Mm.
they call me babaeng bayot minsan ko. So, you know,
It's
being,
a no. It's okay.
yeah, so we
It's
are
really a no.
sometimes being discriminated, and
Yeah.
then here we are a designer, and then we are also focusing on a
Yeah.
certain, so
Right.
murag siya ka ng sukwahi sa,
Exactly. That's a really like anticlimactic in a way when you do something, because like even as designers, even me as a modeling agency, I also have muses, so I call muses.
Yes.
These are like real people models who we use also as our real life mannequins,
Right.
because they attend parties. They really meet different people and they wear our clothes. So these are like, you shout out to my muses there, like Gladys, Dash, and G, and the rest of the clients that
You're right.
I consider beautiful people who wear my clothes, because these are muses. That's why we love including real people in the fashion shows, not just models. And it takes that in the inclusivity part, where people can be, fashion should be relatable.
Right.
Right.
So let's move on to pageant, Mami Dex. So, you've aside from models, you are also well known as munang gitawag sa ka beauty queen maker of Cebu. Of course, katungod kay model, unya diretso na. Do you have si Phoebe? I think
I trained her.
You trained her.
Yeah, I was one of the trainers.
And napay to'y daghan, Mami Dex.
Yeah.
You mentioned all those nga you have trained, and what is it in pageant nga different from sa modeling? Kay lahi man gud ang
right.
the way mo take care ka sa modeling.
Yeah.
Ang pageant mas daghang kuan ang pageant, and then you have a lot of mga models ni mga who are also in the pageant world.
Well, first of all, it starts with the character of a person, no? Not just the character look.
Right.
It is plus factor if you have that striking model beauty queen feature.
Right.
Sometimes it's a crossover. Na pwede ka mag-model, because for me, kung beauty queen lang ka, then you're stereotyped in that one look. But if you can also endorse a product, you can also, transcend from being a beauty queen, right? So for me, being able to interact with models and become beauty queens, I always consider, of course, personality and the image. You know what? To be honest, sometimes there were a lot of models that I encounter, but I find their image very sort of kanang sketchy, right? So I always reconsider things like that. So maybe you start as friends, they want to have you train them, but then I realize that they're not meant to be trained that way, because they have their own mind.
Right.
So then I say no to that as well. But for me, really, personality is really important, and the image behind your look. You might have done things in the past that you can rebrand yourself. That's why the purpose of being an image maker or like an image stylist is there to to rebrand you, to make you become a better version of what you are before, and maybe improve yourself from what your mistakes from the past, and as well as being able to give them a direction in life. Because I always consider some of the beauty queens now are like, they're only as good as their last advocacy. Kani join sila ning pageant, environmentalist sila. After this pageant, lahi na sa ilang advocacy, because they want to align it to a certain kind of concept of this pageant, right? But for me, to become a beauty queen, I have to train them in a way before they even join a pageant. That's why modeling is really part of that training, because you start there the image. You start there your advocacy. That's I always tell Lars and even Eric Visser before.
Yes, Eric.
That I always tell them that you start your advocacy from your core and what is sort of like what is acceptable in public. But if it's not really meant for you, then you have to quit. Because, a beauty queen or a beauty king has to have that advocacy way before you join a pageant. So you have to, mura siya lutuon ni modaan, right? So you have to align it. And if you feel that is really your calling, then you go for the pageant. You go for becoming a beauty queen or a pageant king, sort of. And then after that, you have to maintain that image. You have to have that image. Otherwise, you cannot be called nga marabag, because mo man ni siya. After that, wala na. Right? You have to surpass that kind of branding. So that's why I always dream of beauty queens to becoming like an ambassador, like a consul in the future,
Right.
or like a consultant to government, or
Right.
even museums or something like that. Culture and heritage kind of advocate that goes beyond your training in modeling and pageants, and you become someone who's really more than just a pretty face, but really like the image that should be admirable in the long run.
Yes. Oo.
So that's my dream for every model. That's why even Lars knows that. I always tell him not to do this, not to do that when I see something that's not so good on social media. I always call them out. And I say, maybe this is not good for you. You just have to remove this one and all. And, they realize and they learn from the things that I tell them. Because for me, image is really everything.
Right.
And of course, we cannot prevent that, you do things, this and that. But as long as you can control it, then that's fine. Even before when it's like in medicine, it's like before curing something, you have to prevent. There have to be preventive measures before it happens. You have to tell them not to engage in this, not to do this, because otherwise you'll end up keeping the secret all your life, right? So it's always like that. And for beauty queens and pageant kings, for me, you have to have that persona. It's not for all. Like you have that heart for it. For service, because pageants have to have service. You have to be people-oriented. You have to be a people person. Di pwedeng on stage lang ka, pa-cute and smile and all that. Even when you're dressed down as yourself at home or the palengke or wherever you are, even when you're not in a luxury car or in the jeepney or something, people will remember you. And they will always think about, the good things that you do.
Murag naka-on pirmi ang camera. Bisan pag
Exactly,
sa
yeah.
natug ka pa siguro dahil nag-on na ng camera. So you
Yeah.
have to be consistent of who you are.
Yes, right.
So dapat kung unsay mo ipakita sa stage,
Right.
maugyog ka.
It
That's the
has to
person
be,
you are.
Because otherwise, if it is not really you that's gonna come out there, mura like you're always faking it, no?
Correct.
Gone are the days when you say fake it till you make it. You have to
Wala
be
na, you have to be
authentic. You have to be
oo.
genuine in a way because it will come out.
And especially within this industry nato, na
Right,
kay
yeah.
kanang ang fashion ug ang pageant world ay mura sa tiyag showbiz.
Yes, exactly.
In a way.
Yeah. It's actually art, like because art imitates life,
Yes.
life imitates art, sort of like that. So, but then again, you have to remember that people will remember the things that you do.
And then just like showbiz, daghag bashers,
Yes.
especially in the
And
pageant
we have to
world.
accept that because not all people will be, rooting for us, right?
Right.
Even in fact, myself, I don't.
Ay, Mami Dex, yes, daghan
Yeah.
sa mga istorya sa karaan.
Correct, yeah. In fact,
This-
all of a sudden,
you're one
may
of
boom na lang
those.
ka nga.
Oo.
Murabag, inaani ko no kada,
Oo.
inaako no kay inaani. Sure sila, Ana. I mean, people can always make things ba, and they talk about you behind your back without
Right.
you knowing it, no? But then again, that's life. You cannot, how do you call that? Di mo maimutan.
Di mo ma-please sa tanan.
You cannot please everyone. That's fine.
But then, the good thing about you is that you actually, naistorya bahin ni mo Mami Dex, you don't bite.
Yeah,
Murabag-
exactly, yeah.
Og dili tinod,
Yeah, I let it be,
Yes,
actually,
oo.
until you realize it's not true.
It's not true. And then
Yeah, right.
perhaps sa imuha, ang imong way of thinking, the way I see it, no nga, ay ma-positive o ma-negative na nga publicity, it's still
Oh, well.
good. Basta madungog lang ako nga lang diha nga na.
Well,
But,
that's
of
part
course,
of it,
yes, oo.
because it's in showbiz. But for me, man, because if somebody thinks of me that way, iyahan na na.
Yes.
Because you cannot be friends with everyone.
Correct.
People may not like you. It might be astrology. It might be when you're born this way. It might be your zodiac sign or your
Right.
animal sign is not compatible with him. It might be that, or even just the stars don't align between the two of you. That's fine, right? So I let them be, and then until they realize that it's not true. or they'll end up dying and believing that's
Believing
what they
that's-
think about me, then
Mauna
that's
na siya
really
diha,
fine, because at
oo.
the end of the day, you have to love yourself. You have to
Correct.
please yourself more than just anyone. And I
Yes.
always tell people that, if somebody doesn't like you, maybe they find something not in them that it's in you.
Yes, and
Right.
I see that in Lars. I see that in Annika and Rose
Yeah,
as well,
right.
because I think that's they also got that from you as well.
Yeah.
Muna nga makakuan, because I also tell them, if
Yeah.
I'm trained yan, no, ayaw mo padala.
Yeah,
It's kuan. Okay?
exactly.
You're in this industry, it is a given. Kay
Yeah.
mura ramang good og showbiz na ay
Right.
mang bash na ay
Nagi na
ani
siya, oo.
na ay sa imuhang kuan, Mami Des, or was there also a time ba na yung mga kanang sunlot-sunlot?
Oh yes, there it happens all the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
nga
there
ang
is.
imuhang mga alaga nga
Yeah.
murag kuhaon. How did you giunsa nimo siya pag kanang tackle or paghandle?
It's like a stage. It's like a phase in life. No, it's like a boyfriend girlfriend relationship. It's like a
Yeah.
mother and daughter kind of. There's always that kind of phase that you struggle with it, whether to accept it or not. But at the end of the day, sometimes I always give models the benefit of the doubt, or
Right.
people the benefit of the doubt. When they feel, or if they feel they don't like to be in the agency anymore, and if they feel that they belong better to another agency, I let them
Right.
be. Until then, they realize that, if it works for them, that's fine. But doesn't work for them, when there might be second chances for them coming back. But I always make it a point that they realize and they learn from something, whether it's a mistake or it's something that they failed to foresee ahead of time. Murabag, I tell them nga, di sa siya ingon nga patagamon. But then again, I always tell myself that if they decided on that and they lack the foresight,
Right.
and then maybe it's not meant to be. I always believe in meant to be. Yeah. So yeah, I'm happy for those who transferred and they become successful. But I'm also not saying happy, but I'm saying, that's fine if you didn't make it when you moved away from the agency. And for me, it's like also a reflection on the people who salute them, like or the agents or the managers who get them because they see something in them. That's one thing.
Right.
And then they probably feel that they can do better. I'm fine with that, if that's the case. But if and when it's also their character. If there's somebody who can't find someone on their own and discover a genuine person in their own way, kay hilig ra gyud sila og mangilog og mga
Yes.
talents.
Naagi sa atong industry.
Naadyo na
We have a
siya,
lot
yeah,
actually.
right. And sometimes also, there's also others who want to transfer to me. But I always tell them to, just clear it out with your agency
First,
or your
oo.
manager.
Para dili
But if I'm
magka-problema,
friends with the
yeah.
manager, I always talk to them and say, uy, ganahan lagi siya mo transfer and all that. Before we say anything, before I say yes.
Right.
And sometimes if it's hanging, then that's fine. If I'm left hanging, I'm somebody who's really okay with that. Like I said, from nursing, we learn
learn,
to
yeah.
empathize with people. So if and when I feel nga murag it's okay, then I let go of people.
Advice to those who are kanang gusto mag modeling. What advice can you give to them kung kanang nitan gusto sila mo venture into modeling?
Yeah. So, well, modeling, the word per se, is a model is something that, is a reflection of somebody or something that people want to become, or something admirable,
Right.
somebody they can relate to. So I always tell people who even enroll in my workshops that the modeling industry is really big, and it's not just focused on that certain cookie cutter look where you have to be slim, you have to be pretty. All of you can become models if you set your mind to it.
Right.
But it's hard work. You cannot just saying, ni workshop na ko, model na
Mag-model
ko
na ko,
after,
oo.
because that's what they always ask. Can we be absorbed by the agency after the workshop? I said, I always give them probationary period. If you find that you're comfortable working with the agency after the workshop, that's fine. if you feel that you want to venture into other else, that's also fine.
That's also fine.
But
Yeah.
also tell them that your time will come. You just have to wait, but you have to work hard for it. It's not a
Right.
one-way traffic
Right.
that we agencies do work hard for you, find jobs for you, look market you for anything. You also have to work for yourself. You have to keep that image. You have to keep on posting on social media at the
Right.
same time because that's part of the business to be visible.
Mo market,
Visibility.
i-market gid ni mo.
Visibility is
Yeah.
a new credibility,
Yes.
sort of like that.
Mao gyud.
You're right. So if you're not there, then people won't remember you. If you don't post on social media, then how can we help you also in a way?
Correct.
Because it's a two-way thing. So I always tell them that to be in the industry, you have to have also that character that you don't easily give up. Give it time because not all models become stars overnight,
Correct.
right? It took them a while. Some people even really realize nga, pag mature, di na sila ni guwapo, di na sila ni guwapa, and they find their market even in commercials because that's now their peak.
Yes.
So it's a long kind of process where you have to really work hard for it. And don't just rely on one project. Do other things from hosting to podcasts to
Right.
doing a lot of things, being an influencer, or just even putting reels out there. It's really very important for visibility. Yeah.
Message to those who wants to become a designer, a fashion designer.
Yeah, well, being a designer actually, nowadays, the word designer, sometimes it transcends just drawing or sketching. You have to know how to create clothes by even cutting and sewing
Yes.
and like do your own beading because you don't know, if you don't know these things, you don't realize that it's really hard kung nag-drawing lang ka kuto.
You're right.
But then again, I always tell new ones right now that you have to try to, kanang agi sa butas ng karayom, sort of like that. Because otherwise, di mo kibaw in the back room what it takes to buy a fabric, purchase a fabric, cut
Right.
it, get the details out of it. So sometimes you design, abi ni mong designer na ka because you can draw well, but you're an illustrator lang di ay. Because there's technicalities in
Technicality,
designing. How to open, where does the opening go, how does this zipper look like, how does this open up or down or separate,
Right.
things like that. And then I always tell designers that it's also a trial and error. Like I said before, to become a designer, you may either be you have the money, you can open a shop because you have lots
of money, so,
right? You can either be very talented, super talented, that you can really just apply to anyone without doing anything because you have the skill, or you can get lucky because of hard work.
Yeah.
And by hard work, I mean you have to have all that.
Right.
You have a little bit of money, have a little bit of luck. Talent, but more of the hard work. I think hard work, luck comes with hard work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So yeah.
message to those who wants to venture, kanang mag-entrepreneur, kanang gustong mag-agency, mag-modeling agency, or kanang in the fashion world or in the pageant world.
Well, but the eye for beauty is really important. You have to have that kind of like attitude where you know how to spot a certain look,
Kanang na-X factor.
na X factor and all that. But also you have to go with the rigors of the trade
Yeah.
because like modeling industry is also business. You have to be very professional in a way also that you don't just serve what you like,
Yes.
or you don't just serve your own agency that this is your standard and all. Others also have their own standards.
Right.
So you have clients to deal with. You have clients who also have character and attitude. Have to have the business skills because it's at the end of the day it's still business after all. So to be a model agency or to be a model agent or a manager, you have to have all these, KSA again. You have to have the knowledge, the skills, and the right attitude. But you have to have a business acumen as well, because you cannot keep on like promoting models, spending so much, and you're not earning, and you're not, you're living up to their expectations. You have to more or less also earn from what you. Advocacy is different from philanthropy. Sort of, you have to also being also an entrepreneur, you have to grow together with a business,
Yes.
not just the business growing on its own. And of course, when you have models that are successful, is something that you can be happy with, you can be proud of. But of course, as a manager, as an agent, you have to also know that you if you want to do in the business, you have to be professional and make the business work.
Yes.
Right.
Message to your admire babies. Say mo mga
The
alaga, mga anak,
admirables,
the
yeah.
admirables.
I call them the AMP Army,
Oh,
like Admire Models
okay.
Philippines
Murag
Army.
BTS Army, mami.
Diba? Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a hashtag amplified.
Yes.
You have to be amplified, you know, not just us amplifying them in a way to
Yes.
promote them and all that, discovering their talents and really honing their skills, but they themselves have to work hard for it. So I always tell them that it's a two-way traffic, and I tell them that to just, you know, keep the faith,
Right.
believe in yourself. Actually, I tell them that sometimes you don't have the projects today, but maybe the next time you have, it's not all for you, but you just keep on hanging on, and something will really come up better in the next days to come.
Pag
Right.
binuotan, yung kuno mo. Okay.
Yes.
Any upcoming events that you want to plug in aside from of course, the Stylissimo, no, you've
Yes,
already
yeah.
plugged that on. Any upcoming events, you know?
Yeah, well, we have this year is our anniversary, like 25 years anniversary. So
Yes.
we're planning on something on December for like a year-end fashion show.
Yes.
But it's like a gala also, and then we're partnering with an organization with Lito Gruet, and he's also an actor before. He's also a model.
Yes.
He has BY Foundation, the Battle Against Ignorance Foundation. So we will be, because Lars is one of the ambassadors.
Yes.
Also Sarah Hudson, the Miss
yeah.
Consolacion. She's also an advocate for mental health. And so they'll be hosting that event in December. So we're on the planning stage already,
Yes.
celebrating our 25 years. So it's something to look forward to. And all the other models from the past are
Yes.
recalled. If they can join, that better. If they're busy because it's December, they have
Murag
brackets.
homecoming kay
Kinda
gala
like
man.
that.
Oh,
Yeah,
gala.
so it's something to look forward in December. But aside from the workshop, we have fashion shows that are here and there. So I'm doing something with Sir Philip Rodriguez for I don't know if I can plug this. You know,
Yeah.
Cultura is opening in
Yes.
New Star.
Yes.
It's a Culturia Atelier.
Culturia, yep.
Yeah, and then Philip will be one of the designers there on display. Yeah,
Sir Philip also.
yeah, on the 24th of September, we have a mini fashion show there. So it's going to open. I'm working with Philip on a lot of things. We don't know yet if the Miss Cebu is coming pa, so it's still on the work siguro.
Yes.
From the
Do
local
you handle
government.
man with the screening and all the koan man sa,
I'm
diba?
part of the
You're
creative
part creative team,
under,
yes.
under the chairmanship of
Yes,
Philip Rodriguez.
of course.
I'm
Oo.
part of the creative consultants there. So that's also one of the things that I do. Well, I write for It's Cebu under Z Lifestyle
Yes.
for fashion. So I'm September issue is coming out.
Yes. So watch out for that, everybody.
So these are the things that I'm part of the stylography kind of, you know. But there's Ginoong Pilipinas in Manila.
Yes.
But we're sending our appointed candidates from Cebu, Cebu City and the province,
The province.
for that. So just a few of those. I can also reveal the others, but I have a show in Dakak
Yes.
Resort.
That
It's
one.
a bridal fair,
The bridal,
October 10 and 11 and 12, if it's finalized, yes. So we have a fashion show there. I'm directing that event. I'm
Yes.
consulting for that. And all other things are coming, but hopefully they check my socials.
Any
yeah.
projects, mommy, that's on of the Hablon in
Yeah, I
Hablon
have,
Nuevo.
yes.
Yes.
My line of Hablon, it's called Hablon Nuevo. I combined Hablon
Yeah,
and the
and then the
new. It's a
new
new weave,
weave,
sort
yeah.
of, because I'm more like mixing already different fabrics, not just the
Right.
local Hablon.
Yeah.
So it is, it also is a guideline, under the guidelines of the PTF law, the Philippine Tropical Fabrics Law, because we are with Philippine Fashion Coalition.
Right.
So we have to embrace that. We're promoting the local fabrics, not just in Cebu, but all over the Philippines. And so I'm creating a new a line. It's inspired by Maria Cacao.
Yes.
So Anika is
Say
the
Anika,
image model
uh-huh.
for that. So I created a few pieces already, but it's already sold.
Mm.
Yes, like the capsule collection's already sold. So I'm now producing more
More.
of the Maria Cacao narrative. So hopefully that's gonna be part of the Hablon, the weaves, the Philippine weaves actually, more than the local weaves. But still there is still Hablon.
Hablon.
Yes.
Okay. So again, it's called Hablon Nuevo. That's
Yeah.
your line for the Hablon and combining it with the in the new.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we end, Mommy Dex, any shout out to the people that you wish to thank from the
Yeah.
time you started and up
Wow,
to now?
it's got a long list, ha?
Ikaw ano siya?
More overtime.
Nah, it's okay. We have like 3 minutes.
Well, there's a
Yeah.
lot of people I wish to thank, not just my family, because my family has been really like inspiration. Not just my immediate family, my
Yes.
siblings, but my mom and dad, but also my cousins. So from the start, when I was young, we see their clothes, we see them traveling abroad.
Yeah.
They bring back some stuff abroad, and they have all these mga souvenirs from abroad. That also inspired me a lot. So shout out to them, my cousins, and all the relatives there. My friends, of course, who are always supporting me, especially my clients,
Right.
and always there backing me up whenever I have a new item, I have a new product. My A-listers, sila Gladys Gotchan, Dash D, G Rabor, and the rest of the clients that I'm always like in touch with. They're my muses, so they
Yes.
buy what I produce. I thank them because they support me a lot,
Of
and they have that
course.
advocacy also in the Wear Cebu campaign. Yeah. So yeah, my close friends in the industry, Philip Rodriguez is also like sort of like invisible mentor. When I started, I really looked up to Philip because he was the one who really established his brand, the boutique in Ramos Street.
Right.
And until now, Philip is really somebody who's working hard
Yes.
and always inspiring us young designers. And because being a fashion designer, he's all that.
Yes.
He's talented. He has the business acumen, and he's very humble up to now. Yeah, of course, the modeling agency. I love to thank my models, the seniors from Verns to Jovins, Joe France to Eric Visser to Lars to Kishes and to all the models right now, the young ones. Thank you for all your support, and we hope to go beyond 25 years in the industry.
Yes. Again, Mommy Dex, congratulations and
thank you to you.
Thank you, said Mommy Dex. And
Yeah.
for the 25 years, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, 25
Salamat.
years, Gabby, and still in the industry. And again, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. And I've been like, since July, I've been like making kulit.
Yeah.
Like, I really wanted to, to showcase because part of the advocacy, again, of TMC is local and proud. And I wanted to touch base on the Hablon and you being that person, the go-to person for that one. And of course, I've also showcased some of the Admire models who I think embodies that of authenticity and grace and being just with integrity despite their young age. I'm proud of that, and I'm sure you're very much proud of them as well. So
I hope you could be one of our mentors.
okay, so anytime for you, good as in. Anyway, thank you so much for again. Thank you again. Thank you, Kayo.
Thank you.
Digid masukod ang ako ang kahappy and
Wow.
for
Thank you for this
being-
platform, for opening
Yes.
up for pageants and models. It's an inspirational talk show podcast because they need that venue.
Yes.
And you got that.
Thank you for supporting. And of course, na shout out na message na katong sa dresses ba katong gihimo ko nimo nila ni Delmar da
Oh my God. My fan club.
Your fan club. Oh, imong mga fans
my
diha.
long-time barkadas.
As in,
Oh my
high
gosh.
school pa na sila diha mo na iyahang mga
Correct,
kaan.
yeah.
Again, and of course, sa ato ang pinalangga na sugbo, daghan kayong salamat sa pagpaminaw karong hapuna. This is Miss G, and you are listening to Miss with Miss G here at TMC 105.1 FM, the Mo Cebu Conversation, wherein we are live streaming on Tops Media Center, FB, TikTok, and the YouTube channel. And for those of you who wants to message us, please do so at 0999-887-6070. Again, daghan kaayong salamat, maayong hapon, sugbo!